of the Urban Renewal Commission. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd, 2014. Let's take roll call.
Commissioner Mengelberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Benville.
Here.
Commissioner Neely.
Here.
Commissioner Roth.
Here.
Commissioner Mumm.
Here.
And Chair Polly.
Here. All right. The next item is citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments? Hearing none. Adoption of the agenda. Is there any reason not to adopt the agenda as presented? Okay, we will adopt as presented. General business. 14-496 Adaptive Reuse Building Rehabilitation Program Grant for 702 Main Street. Can we have a staff report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we before you tonight, you have an application for adaptive reuse grant for 702 Main Street, which is the Bank of Commerce building. They're proposing to renovate 2,400 square feet of bottom or ground level from office to retail. It is considered a mixed-use redevelopment. One of the spaces will be leased to a tap house, and the other is still under negotiation. They're also creating tenantable space, which is unused now, in the basement. That would house possibly a yoga studio or a club type of beer club type of membership business. They are asking for $150,000 for this grant. Let me step back and go into some of the details of the construction. They'll be adding some historical features such as the columns of the period correct tension, coved archways, and the use of stained glass to maximize soft light effects. The scope of the work includes demolition of the basement, elevator renovations to comply with ADA requirements to the basement level, a staircase installed to allow access from first floor to the basement, 3 ADA compliant restrooms, installation of a sprinkler system in the basement area, and electrical panel and distribution. The proposed project will repurpose street level office space to retail space and add tenantable space to the lower level, like I had just mentioned. This will allow for the creation of new jobs in their downtown core. So staff has reviewed the application, and we've been on a site visit to get a first-hand look, and it's pretty impressive as to what they're doing and the level of construction they're participating or that they're moving forth with. We thought it'd be a great project and a great addition to downtown. And so we are recommending full award at $150,000.
Okay, we do have some questions. Commissioner Benville?
Actually, I have absolutely no questions. I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I am pumped up. This is so cool of a project. I was looking at their proposed plan for it, and to be honest with you, I can't believe they can do it for that price. But I think that is a great idea, so I'm all for it.
Yoga studio or the tap room?
well, the tap room is totally cool,
kidding.
but the cellar club in the basement is even better than some of that proposed stuff. I think.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, talking about rejuvenating downtown at nighttime, right? Right? And that's really what I'm really looking forward to.
One of the things that staff liked about it is that they're doing more construction than what's proposed here in this application, and so we thought it was a really high owner investment. They're really putting a lot into it.
They really are, and it looks very passionate about it, and I'm kind of excited about that whole stained glass piece.
Yes, absolutely.
Taking the unused space right now, the basement, and making it usable, rentable space is amazing. Mayor Neely?
I recall when we did the storefront grant, and we modified it because we wanted to make sure the possibility in the future columns would go in. My recollection is above the amount for the storefront grant that we offered, we put in there about $2,000, I think it was, for an architect to look at the columns in the future. Do we have a design on the columns?
We might want to ask the applicant that tonight. So,
Yeah. Please, welcome.
As a matter of introduction, my name is Jason Surratt. I'm one of the 3 owners of the building currently and plan on being around for a long time. That's why we're investing so much of our funds into this building. We did a lot of research when we looked at different buildings when my partners and I wanted to get into Oregon City. And first of all 3 of us firmly believe that Oregon City's on the up, and it's going to continue to go. It's going to offer some outdoor recreation mixed in with a lot of different creative space, mixed in with some retail space. It's got the perfect mix. So we're very excited about what we have going here. Main and 7th has been a building that has kind of just been floating along, let's say, with, okay, you need a space, we'll make sure that hole's fixed and we'll put you in there. Well, if hopefully Eric can speak to this, with what we've done recently, and we took him through some of the, what we call the turns, the renovations we've done so far, we're taking it to Class A space. We're taking it to a space that could be for any attorney's client to show up and not have any qualms about the way it looks, and not the conversation of, well, those cords are there, just ignore those cords, that kind of stuff. That's gone. And as we looked at the retail space, and we had the storefront grant through the 2 different grants that have come together to make that happen, we noticed that actually this Paul, who's our project manager, we were looking at the basement, and he said, if you're getting rid of this huge boiler, which is completely inefficient, and that's what we're doing, we need to revamp the HVAC, why wouldn't you use this space? And that's where it led to another thing, which led to another thing, and led to this application, and led to many late nights for me, and that's where we're at today. So what we hope to do, and Eric alluded to this, is to take that basement and make it something that fits the needs of Oregon City the most. And when I read through some of the PSU graduate student information about the research they've done and the planning, they've said, well, if we were to, and these are students in urban renewal and city planning. In any case, these folks were saying they need 24-hour lifestyle, which is housing here. Well, we can't do that. That's not practical for this building. This building would have to be demolished to really actually make it feasible for housing. So we talked, well, what's the next best thing? What can we offer to Oregon City? And the next best thing was creative space, which seems to be doing very well here, mixed in with some form of or manner of after-hours type of space. Now, the nice thing is that it ties in quite conveniently with the tap house. And while the tap house is taking one retail storefront that's going to be completed relatively soon, they have aspirations, and I actually believe that they're correct after doing some research in their project. I didn't even know what a tap house was, to be honest, until they came to me. And they're taking these it's almost like wine connoisseurs, but beer connoisseurs, and they're taking the finest beers and offering them almost like you would go to a wine shop. And they open up tastings, and when they announce that, they say some of these places have lines around the building for these specialty tastings, and they are completely engrossed in this culture, which is perfect for us because it's going to bring a lot of recognition to Oregon City. So what we found as we explored the building is, and forgive me if I go on too long, but I'm passionate about what we're doing here, there's some stairs back there. So we thought, well, geez, Tap House now has some stairs access to the basement. Originally, we'll just do a storage, which is what we're going to do right now. They have storage for a very low price to store their casks. But as they grow, we want to be ready for them. And the next thing is, okay, we have this huge bank vault, which would be a great owner's corner or club corner where they could put their beers in there and know the combination to this bank vault.
Cool.
Why not? And then we thought, well, geez, if we're doing that, let's mix it with some creative space. And why can't we have some movable walls? So if someone needs 2,000 square feet for 3 months because they're doing a project, let them come in. We'll move the walls. And then when we need a little bit less space, we'll move the walls again and make it as flexible as possible. And then also have the possibility of some type of exercise area back there, because we have we actually have an area that would be a perfect locker room for people who want to commute by bike or something to that effect. Obviously, this is a pretty difficult task in an old building. We have to make it safe for fire. We have to make it appropriate for ADA. And it takes a lot of money. And you're right, we're actually stretching our budget very thin and asking a lot of favors from people to make this happen. But I'm excited about what we have going so far, at least the plans. And we're taking ideas from A.E. Doyle, who's the architect on that building. We're taking plans from his Portland buildings and taking some of the ideas on the interior and incorporating them into the interior of this building, which has been completely scrubbed of any evidence of A.E. Doyle.
I think the question in particular.
I didn't answer your question, did I?
Description of the project.
I like the presentation.
It was the columns, right?
I think one of the things you left out there was the columns. And
Oh, the columns, yes. So how about the columns? Sorry about that.
No, thank you.
I digress. So the columns, we did some research into them. We're looking at prices of around $80,000. That's by no means architecture renderings, because we didn't want to spend any of the city's money until we as a group feel serious about it. So that $2,000 is still sitting there, waiting. The columns really surprised me. In fact, last time I was here when we spoke about the columns, I thought, well, geez, I like the columns, other people like the columns, let's put them back in. I thought 16, 20, maybe 40. I was completely blown away. And so we're trying, and Paul actually, our project manager who I referred to before, Paul's got some good ideas on how we could possibly bring that price down and once again ask for favors from some of the people who do this kind of work. But so far, it's kind of on the outer part of the radar as we try to first get the building tenable, and then we can dream a little bit with some of those funds.
The reason I ask, I mean, it's not a requirement of this, but that was specifically brought up in the presentation here, that the columns are still in the picture, but it's not part of this particular project then.
Affordability, no.
No.
When we look at the elevator is going to cost around $70,000 to bring to the basement. It kind of, that's a big chunk of our budget. So everything gets real expensive. And the stairway that's fireproofed is another $50,000. So right there we have two big chunks. And if we add the $80,000 columns, if we can get it down, great. But so far, that's our price we're working with. It makes it really challenging to get the other parts done.
You could always put them in later, though, if.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing in our way of putting them in later. In fact, you can still see the stains where they used to be. So it'd be nice to have them in. Yeah.
Commissioner Smith?
So I agree on the columns. That's been my one thing the whole time. It's we are redoing so many buildings downtown, and some of them have just really amazing, unique characteristics, and that's one that's so crucial to that building. I'm so excited about this. So even though I had a question, I'm still really excited about it. And my only question, which you already answered, which was, are you saving the vault?
Yes.
Because I've been down there, I've been in the vault, and that's a pretty amazing piece of the old bank vault that's still down there. So I'm glad you're saving it.
Definitely. I don't think it's going to, we have no plans for it to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's very cool.
One other thing about the columns to kind of give you the way we're looking on the long view of this building is that it's kind of like functionality before aesthetics, unfortunately. We, as owners for the last year and a half, have poured all the money that we've made into the building. We have made not a dime on this building. So obviously, I believe in long view, but I have to remind my partners who don't show up to these meetings, who don't show up to Oregon City as often, that they need to believe in this. So my thought is, okay, plan A, get the storefront done. Now we have plan B, basement open up. Plan C, it'll be between, and I would actually open this up to you folks, which I want your expertise. Would you prefer us to have put in plan C the Wayfarer sign, blade sign on the corner, which has a beautiful view as you come over the arch bridge, or the columns? Because that's kind of how I look at it. That'll be the next aesthetic type of detail we'll need to do. And unfortunately, with budgets, we have to decide between the two.
There could be two separate grants for that, though.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
If we were lucky enough, you're right.
Right.
So you'll probably see me back here. Yeah.
Ask for columns.
Ask for columns.
Within the next 2 years. Within the next 2 years.
Well, but I mean, I think that, and most, I would assume most people on this commission would agree with the fact that We've tried to make these grants, the storefront grants, flexible enough so that we can target very important projects. And not only that, I think it's very specific when we look at trying to restore buildings back to their original context. And so I think there's a lot of interest, in my personal opinion, to do that. And so I think that may not be something that the building owners would have to take up all on their own if it was proposed to the store as a storefront grant.
Well, I've spoken to the owners, the other two owners, and they have no qualms about researching it. And then also, because their thought is, well, if there's a 50-50 grant again that we could work towards for the columns, that works great. Then, as we were having that conversation, Jonathan Stone came up to me and said, I really think we need a Wayfarer sign. Your building makes the most sense. Would you be willing to work with me on it? And I said, well, definitely. So it kind of steered me a different direction. And
Leave it to Jonathan.
But they have, they're starting to build grants for downtown too as well, aside from what we're doing. So maybe those will grow as we go on too.
But if it is the feeling of the commission here, the Urban Renewal Commission, that you would prefer the columns come first, there's no harm in putting our personal finances toward the columns first. And it will make a huge difference. The building is nice looking, but those sharp looking white columns, there's nothing to replace a look like that.
When I think of bank, I think of columns.
Mm-hmm.
It needs columns.
Yeah. Historic bank, yeah.
I think you got your answer.
Columns it is.
Columns it is. Commissioner Roth.
My question was about the columns as well. Have you spoken to Paul Edgar about the columns? He had some good ideas about where duplicate columns are and how to fabricate them.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
and he
different-
was
yeah.
on the Urban Renewal Commission at one point. So,
How would does anybody perchance have contact information for Paul?
Yeah.
We can get
Okay,
it.
thanks, Art.
that's it.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Mengelberg.
I also really like this project, and I just want to note a couple of different reasons that haven't already been said. One is that you have a 2-for-1 match, which is great. You're investing $300, you're asking for $150. That's great leverage of urban renewal resources. And the second piece is that to have a vital Main Street, you want to have things that attract people, as many hours of the day. And right now it's a bank building, it's an office building, it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But you're talking about a tap room and yoga, which gives people a reason to come downtown after hours. And that's yet another reason why we should support it.
The way I was thinking about it is the 3 phases of a working person's life. Morning breakfast, the entire day, afternoon, evening. And so I actually contacted Voodoo Donuts and asked them if they wanted to I said, I'll do the whole tenant improvements if you put one in here. That's another thing to really bring people in. Unfortunately, because of family situations, they are completely focused on expanding into family territory into Denver, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So we're out of luck. But if anybody comes up with, I sit in a room with patients all day. I'm a physician. I don't have great contacts, so I have to do everything the hard way with research. But if anybody has an idea for a bakery or
Salt and straw.
Salt and straw.
Salt and straw.
Yep.
Ice
There's a
cream.
lines around the corner,
Do you think-
even in the dead of winter.
I'll contact them then.
Or the original coffee people, Jim and Patty.
Yeah.
Actually, she's a patient.
Oh,
I didn't say
whoa,
that.
HIPAA.
Actually, technically, I can say she's a patient. I just can't tell you anything about her. She and I have been in discussions,
That place is fabulous.
and I have tried to get her down and look at it. I think the problem was when she came down, she saw this empty shell with a bunch of broken down, demolished. It's hard to see the vision when it
I
looks
talked
like
to
that.
Jim about it too.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, and what did
It's
he
been
say?
a year and a half ago. So he was kind of, we're kind of gearing down. But
Yeah. See, we need them to bring a manager.
Columns.
get the
Get her back here and we'll show her the columns.
But truly, my point in bringing that up is if anybody has a contact, an idea, I'm completely open to it. I, in fact, contacted all the wineries that were here for the Main Street winery tour and asked them if they are interested in doing a kind of cellar wine tasting. And there's been a lot of encouragement, but none that say that we're ready to move forward with it. So I'm still trying to get the right mix of what we need.
The other thing I can
help you
think of
about that too.
Thank you.
that I would like to see down here, and I know it's on the hill, but a cider room.
Oh. Now, you could get that easily from, I'll bet you the Tap House would have people that could do that.
Of course.
Because that's right up their alley. They just want to stick with beer because they're beer snobs, but we could easily dive into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, well, it looks
Cool.
like we have a motion.
that's right.
Amy, would you like to read it?
I move to approve adaptive reuse building rehabilitation program grant for 702 Main Street.
Second. Oh.
Second.
Say it before you hit the button.
I said second and hit the button.
We're going to go ahead and read the roll call. So, Commissioner Mengelberg.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Benville.
Aye.
Commissioner Neely.
Aye.
Commissioner Roth.
Aye.
Commissioner Mum.
Aye.
Commissioner Polly.
Aye.
And it passes.
And I have to put my 2 cents in too. I think a chocolatier would be great.
Of course, the gal owns the hat shop across the street.
Well, I mean a
Yeah,
big one,
full-fledged.
like a Moonstruck or something.
Oh,
So I'm going to write these down. 'Cause-
But thanks for all your work, and no matter what,
Yeah.
the space, the improvements will
Here you
work
go.
some really good
Thank you.
tenants. Thank
Yeah, and I
you.
think like I said, we're trying to make it a 24-hour building. And with these changes, people are going to be coming in and out of that area morning, noon, and night, and that's what we're really going for. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay. Consent agenda.
Move to approve?
Second.
Let's see where I can vote.
Oh,
Oh, look at
Aye.
that.
Look, it comes.
good job, Katie.
Never works on the first time.
So motion passes? Yes. Okay. Future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items? Any suggestions? Okay, hearing none. City manager's report. Do you have a report?
Thank you. The only thing I have to report tonight is to remind the Urban Renewal Commissioners, and the City Commissioners already know this, but we're hosting City Hall Week, which is the League of Oregon Cities event. Each year they go around different parts of the state and they talk about the legislative agenda for the upcoming state legislative session. And Oregon City has been asked to be a host of that. So we will be hosting City Hall Week. Katie, do you have the dates and times?
September 11th, and
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Yes, at the Moot, the Museum of Oregon.
Of the Oregon Territory. So if any of you want to come, you're welcome. We'll have our
I might
state
mention the city
representatives.
selected, they represent 2 state senate districts, so we're representing our own and the one that includes, I believe, Milwaukee, Johnson City, even parts of Portland. So I don't know that I can't remember in my time that we have been selected, so that's great. We've asked Vern Duncan to be the moderator, former state Secretary of State Secretary of Education of the state, and also served as our Senate representative for more than one term. I'm not sure how many.
Mr. Frazier, there's also an open house, right, for the Carnegie Center, some ideas for it. And the library, even though it's not getting urban renewal funds, is still within our urban renewal. Can you tell me when is that open house?
Tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow. At what
Tomorrow
time?
at 7:30,
Sounds right.
7:45, something like that.
Okay.
I don't have a calendar in front of me, and I want to say without
Activities.
confirming. Katie might have access to it, but we'll
Okay.
get back. We can email you the dates.
No, it's that, but also just to advertise to the public
Yeah.
that,
Oh, I see.
where they have some ideas that
Yeah, it's
are
all
coming
over
up.
our
for the-
website actually right now.
Yeah, but it's just an exciting time,
Yes.
for the
It is.
Carnegie
It is very
Library.
exciting.
There is a lot going on, and so I encourage everybody to look at the website often.
Often.
Often. Very often. All right, anything else? All right, we're going to adjourn the Urban Renewal Commission meeting.